Welcome friends in the 8th module of AI, genetic algorithms and traveling salesman problem. Genetic algorithm is little different from conventional AI techniques that is recently added. In fact, it is some other researchers do not call it part of AI. I consider it to be part of AI, at least the initial part. GA was quite associated with AI. I do not want to discuss more about why it is part of AI and why it is not. Let us see why we are discussing about GAs. We have seen that AI is about solving difficult problems, and GA is one great way of solving difficult problems. In fact, GA has shown that it can actually solve some serious AI problems not solved for years. So, anyway, we are not going to discuss much about what it has done. We will see the introduction of GA. It is not very similar to something that we have studied so far. It is not about representing a problem in state space, no. It is not about searching through state space, no. It is not about starting from start set to go to the final state, no. It is something different. We do not have heuristic function here. There is something similar available, but it is not basically heuristic function, something very, very different. Now, what GA is about? GA is about searching in solution space. We have already seen that. Solution space is okay, but solution, but it will not search like other search methods we have seen so far. For example, we have a solution space where we have every node describing a solution. In conventional methods, what we do is you pick up a solution state, look at the heuristic value, and then try to move to some other solution space, which solution state which is better, or generate from this solution state. You generate other solution states and find out which one is better, and then you move there, okay, like the hill climbing or simulated tunneling or something similar. In this case, we do not do it. What we do is something very different. For example, for a given node, I have 20 children. I will choose top 5 from it, okay, and then I do not explore them. What I do is I will just mingle them in a way that, or in a way that I generate new nodes out of it. If I have 5 nodes, and for example, if you combine 1 and 5 and generate a new solution or 2 new solutions, basically think of it, and if you do it that way, out of 5 you can generate 20 more, okay. So, again out of that 5 you pick up first 5 and so on. So, here it is very similar to human being or even living forms. The GA is based on the principle that how living forms continue to become better, to make sure that they adjust with the environment. For example, all the preys, deer, what they do, even while they are grazing, they keep on hearing the sound and looking it around to make sure that there are no carnivorous animals around, and if it is so, they use their smelling and hearing ability to figure out if they are nearby, and at the first sight of the enemy around, they start running. Obviously, 2 abilities of deer can save. One, the ability to hear and smell, and the other ability is to run fast. And obviously, only those deer who run fast and smell better can survive. Similarly, the carnivorous animals also, okay, they can only survive if they run fast and they are better, okay, and in making sure that the enemy does not, the prey does not get the hint of their moving, so that they are on prowl, okay. So, point is, the only better species, only better individuals are likely to survive, and the second principle of GA is that when better better individuals mate, they produce even better offspring. How this is related to GA? It is pretty simple. GA is about representing problems in form of a solution space. So, what you do is you just get 5 best solutions and then then mingle them in a way that you get 20 better solutions, and then again pick up 5 and so on and so forth. So, this is what GA is all about. Let us begin talking about GA. Let me tell you that GA is a huge thing, and what I am going to talk about is just, we are just going to scratch the surface. We are not going to discuss many things about GA, and if I have given 1 or 2 references at the end of this chapter. And end of this module. So, if you want, if you are interested in studying more about GA, probably those are the references, and then pretty more. In fact, there are many more resources on GA. Okay, let us begin talking about this thing. As I said, the GA is not the usual content for AI. This thing, there is something called soft computing. Now, I do not want to again describe the difference between soft computing and AI, because there are a lot of people saying one thing, a lot of other researchers saying absolutely the other. Okay, but many people believe that GI is not part of AI, it is part of soft computing. Anyway, let us talk about why it is an excellent method of solving some very interesting AI problem. Well, we will actually going to see and find out how useful it is for solving a traveling salesman problem. And one great thing about GA is that it can handle the combinatorial explosion problem. Okay, how it is doing, we will see, but it is quite different than another algorithm. It is not searching through the search space, it is actually generate solutions, in fact generations of solutions one after the other, and doing it in a way that humans and other species do, in a way that eventually what you get are better solution sets. So, after few iterations, probably the solutions that you have are better than the earlier ones. Okay, and is based on the idea of how life forms persist. GA obviously is based on one simple principle which Darwin gave long back: survival of the fittest. Obviously, when any species have to live, and when the condition is that the resources are limited, they will have to fight for the survival. And all the capabilities that I talked about here, even human being, you can see that we have to have some qualities to survive, and those who have better qualities have better chances of survival, and it inherits from parents to children. Okay, so that is something which is very common and seen across all life forms. But then inheritance involves a lot of randomness. For example, 5 children of the same parent, same pair of parent, are very different from each other. They are quite different from each other. Okay, so that's great thing about the life forms, and the same thing we are going to have adopt in GA, that is adopted in GA to solve problems. But then 2 important principles which I have already talked about, let me reiterate them. Better offsprings have more chances of survival, and then next generation is genetically better. Okay, what are the functioning of GA, how GA works? In a nutshell, it is defined like this: you have a solution set called SS. If SS is the final solution set, it satisfies the criteria that you like to achieve, that is great. If it is not, what you have to do is to select some out of the complete set. To select some, you may use a function which is quite similar to heuristic function, but here it is called a fitness function. It tests whether you are fit. The actual case, all spaces, suppose if for example you have 20 solutions, what you do is you just let them roam around in the real space, let them win or survive themselves, and those who survive after some time, collect them and mate them. So, this is exactly what happens. In some cases, artificial worlds are created where the solutions are sent, and then will pick up those who survive and so on. But here usually a simpler method is picked up. You apply fitness function, and out of 20 select 5, and then again you let them mate and generate 20 in the next iteration I have already talked about. So, that is called generate offspring from random parent of this thing. Now what you do is, now you have those offspring, the older ones are thrown away. Okay, so new 20, now new 20 you pick up 5 and throw everything, from this 5 generate 20, throw this 5, out of this 20 again pick up 5, throw rest, so on and so forth. You continue doing that, eventually what you get is a better solution set, hopefully. Okay, now let us jump into little jargon. Okay, the genetic footprint of anybody is called a genome. genome contains something called chromosomes. The chromosome contains genetic map of individual in form of DNAs. Okay. DNA in turn contains genes, okay, which basic building block. For example, genes will decide the color of the screen and the type of teeth and the color of eyes and so on and so forth. Okay, this words probably we are not going to use them anywhere else. Okay, this is the only slide which contains those names. They are not all that important for us right now, but if you are trying to delve deeper into GS later, probably you need to learn more about them. Okay, for example, one more capability of gene is to make sure that you will have some characteristics. For example, ability to climb trees and swim and so on. You can see that such characteristics are very important for survival. Okay, and reproduction process helps the genes to carry from parent to offspring. Okay, so this process allows those characteristics, ability to climb, ability to swim and all that in the offspring, and DNAs are replicated in the offspring. Okay, this is how it is done. And offspring, the children's genome basically is a combination of parents. Now let us learn a little more about human genome. The set of genetic information is encoded in human genome. They contain 46 chromosomes and that is 23 pairs of chromosomes found in the nucleus of each cell. Okay, the 46 chromosomes are found. Okay, and the genome in human case is a long strand of estimated 35,000 DNAs in humans. Anyway, these are not all that important things, just to make sure you understand what we are talking about. Now we are going to talk about G as an algorithm, genetic algorithm. What does they do? Okay, they generate solutions. They start with a random state, evolve and combine solutions. I have already discussed them. In this case, a chromosome is a string, simple. Okay. Population is a word which is used. What we have, I was talking about those 20 and then pick up 5. So, those 20 strings that you pick up in the beginning is called a solution set or is called population. Okay. And what are the operations that you will have? Simple, you cut some part of the string and paste some part elsewhere, and the other one you apply fitness function to this string, finding out how good or fit this particular string is. There are 3 basic operations. The first one selects the best members of the population. Remember, I was talking about 5 out of 20. Recombination. Now, those 5 are to be mated together, recombined together to produce next generation. That is called recombination. One more important thing here is called mutation, which we are not going to apply in our, we are not going to discuss further in this module, but mutation is very important. When we are talking about recombination, we are talking about combining parents in a way that they inherit almost everything from parent. For example, color of skin and all that are almost similar. The difference is not much. But when we talk about mutation, is about making sure that there is some real random inheritance takes place. For example, you have a color of skin which is not inherited from either parents, albino for example, or having the heart on the right side or something like that. That sometimes happens due to radiation or some external this thing also, input also, but is basically mutation is never considered good in humans, but in here in this case mutation sometimes is used for, there is a reason, and it is very similar to something that we have seen in this thing, simulated unlearning. We allow bad move. Okay. So, mutation is kind of a bad move. So, you change things in a way when you have 2 strings, 2 parents, when they mate, you do not get a string with similar characteristics, you get a string with very different characteristics. But in a way we are not going to discuss that further in this particular module. The first process, selection, in real world, as I said, they are sent out to survive on their own, and those who survive only will mate with the others and get better offspring. But that is not happening here. What we do is, out of 20 we just apply fitness function like heuristic function and decide top 5 or top 6 or whatever. Okay. The selection process only chooses better candidates based on the fitness value. Okay. The recombination takes random pairs of parent. Now as I said, I have 5, so it will pick up 1 and 5, or pick up 2 and 3, and pick up 1 and 4, and so on. It will pick up random parents and generate that thing, it combine them, okay. Offspring inherit genes and attributes, and this thing, the process produces next generation. And once you get the new generation, the old generation is just wiped off. The new generation takes place, new generation is going to replace the old generation in this case. Sometimes obviously the best of the old generation strings are cloned into the new one, those who are having better fitness values, to make sure that you get a better offspring in the next generation. Again, we are not going to do that further here. I have already told you the mutation is a process of adding serious randomness. It is very different than compared to this thing. It changes the properties of the genes on the permanent basis. It is due to the human and other species, it is basically due to external influences like radiation. In this case, the genes are distorted, okay, and the examples I have already given, somebody with 3 eyes and somebody with no hair, and so on and so forth. A mutation to GI is similar to bad moves in assay, simulated annealing, changes genes drastically but provides an escape route. Sometimes you stuck up, okay, you won't get further. If there is a mutation, probably there is an escape route possible. So that is why this is allowed in GS. And let us pick up something called a traveling salesman problem. I already talked about that in the first module. Let us talk about that again. And on the screen you can see there is a simple case where I have 7 different CTs, and there are total paths. I have drawn all possible paths on the screen. Every CT is directly connected with every other CT. So we have a lot of paths. How many? 7 minus 1 factorial. Let us see. 7 cities are connected to each other using direct roads. Each distinct path is tour traveling all cities. For example, ABCDEFG is one tour, and ACBDEFG is another tour. So there are many tours possible. The graph is not directed path. What does that mean? Every road is possible to travel in both directions, okay, that's reverse path is the same path. So ABCDEFG is the same tour as GFEDCBA, okay, the reverse path is the same. Total path between any 2 cities in a given graph is based on the number of cities that you have. For example, if you have 7, it is 7 minus 1 factorial, 6 factorial. Okay, that is 720, but when we have no directed this thing, it becomes half. So it's become, so for our case there are total 360 different tours possible between these 7 cities. 360 different, for a small problem like this, only 7 cities, there are total 360 tours possible, and I want to get the shortest tour. Okay, how do I get one? There are some ways of doing it, and we will see how GA is applied. Okay, let us see what if I have a case of only 26 cities. In case of 26 cities, 25 factorial by 2, total number of alternatives are possible. That comes out to be something I can't even read. You can see on the screen, it's too huge a number. And if you try running this program, looking for all possible alternatives, calculating the length of the path, probably the program will not end in your lifetime. Okay, one of the method is called nearest neighbor algorithm, which helps in finding out the quite optimal solution for traveling salesman problem. It is very simple. It pick up any city at random, it pick up the first city at random, and that is the city. Then it will pick up the shortest city, the nearest city from that city, and so on. It will continue picking up nearest cities, and eventually we will get the complete list of cities. So pick up the first city at random, and solution city is that city, then pick up the nearest neighbor of that at that. And there is no neighbor exists, then return with the solution place. So that means all the cities are explored, and so on. Okay. So that is called nearest neighbor, but then might not give you exact answer, may not be optimal, may not be as, in some cases it may not give you even good answers. Okay. And here one more interesting thing about traveling salesman problem is we can actually choose a sparse neighborhood or dense neighborhood function. An excellent example is, let us look at this particular tour A, B, C, D, E, F, G and again A. Why A at the end? Because a salesman will have to come back to that city. So the last city is always the first city. We are showing the last city right now, we will not be showing it in other slides, but it is assumed to be there. So here I have this particular tour A, B, C, D, E, F to G to again back to A. Now in this particular case, this may be the best tour if that gives me, and how do you decide? In fact, for traveling salesman problem, the fitness function is pretty simple. The total distance covered negatively is the fitness function. Okay. So would like to increase that, in the other this thing would like to reduce total amount of distance covered. So for example, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A may not be able to give us very good answers. So can we go to some other node? I can actually try sparse neighborhood by just assuming a case where two adjacent cities are being exchanged. You can see there are 5 different cases. B and C is exchanged, D and C is exchanged, E and D is exchanged, F and E is exchanged, and F, G and F is exchanged. You can see that, and I in boldface them to make sure that you understand. So I have 5 different children. And why this sparse? Because if I, for example, I say that any 2 children, that is going to be huge. Not only that, any number of changes, I will have a huge value. In fact, if I say that any city exchanged with any other city, then I am going to have around 360. We know that these many possible, so that many nodes. Okay. So this is a sparse neighborhood. Okay. Anyway, now the most important part. Would like to solve traveling salesman problem using GH. Remember, we will have to have a set of better solutions and combine them parents randomly and combine good elements of parents and so on and so forth. And here is an example. We start with a random set of parents, say 20, and then find their fitness values and choose better 5, generate 30 offsprings. How you get? Because there are 15 distinct pairs of 5 offspring that which each generate 2 children, so you get 30. Okay. And you pick up first 5 and so on. I have already discussed that thing, but here there is one more word which I will have to use. How you combine 2 strings. Okay, the method itself is called crossover. There are multiple ways of doing it. For example, one simple method is to cut a string at a typical place. I have 2 strings. I'll cut them at the same place. I pick up this part and paste it here. Pick up the first strings part and paste it here. Okay, so the first string's initial part is pasted with the later part of the second string. Second string's initial part is pasted with the later part of the first string. Now that is called simple single point crossover. There are many other methods. We will see which crossover methods that we are going to use. Again, as I said, I am not going to discuss all crossover methods. We are only going to see a few useful methods which are used in TSP. Okay. Now that is the first one. Okay. For example, let us try to understand. If I take a single point crossover, is it going to work? That is not going to work. Why? Because if I just say, for example, A, B, C, D, I cut. Now the other string contains something A, D, E, F, and now it has some cities which are already occurring here. If I cut and paste them, what will happen? I will have 2 cities, the same city is appearing twice in the root, which is not correct, and some cities do not even appear. So that is not acceptable. Single point crossover is not possible here. Okay. So let us look at this. Let us look at the first method called partially mapped crossover. Here, why it is called partially mapped crossover? Because the partial part is copied, and then the mapping of that is used in crossover. Let us try to see how it works. For example, I have parent 1 as A, C, B, D, E, F, G, and parent 2 as C, D, B, G, A, E, F. Okay, and I decide that I use the middle 3 elements. In the case number 1, the parent 1 is B, D, E, parent 2 is B, G, A. Okay, and I am going to use them in this crossover method. So the child one, remember, is going to pick up the part from parent 2. So, BGA parent 2 middle part is copied into child 1. Similarly, the middle part of parent 1 is copied into child 2. Now, the rest is to be picked up from other parent. That means, child 1 will have other cities from parent 1 and child 2 will have cities from parent 2. Okay. So, now look at the middle part. The child 1 is BGA, child 2 is BDE, and that is what we mean by mapping. So, B is mapped to B, D is mapped to G and A is mapped to E. Okay. Just compare them. Okay. Now, how partially mapped crossover works? You can see on the next slide. Now, it is little the PowerPoint animation is running. So, better try to see how it works. You can see the right hand side we have the mapping. B is mapping to B, D is mapping to G, E is mapping to A. Now, the parent 1 is A, C, B, D, E, F, G. Okay. And now, remember the child 1 we have already taken the part from parent 2. Now, the rest is to be picked up from parent 1 we have already talked about. Now, how it processes? See the process. Okay. Now, the first one is A. Okay. The parent 1 first element first city is A and the mapping says A should be replaced by E. So, I will have E here in child 1 at place number 1. Okay. Now, let us pick up second one G. Now, G is to be mapped to D. So, G is replaced by D. So, okay. So, the child 1 now has E star which we still have to fill B, G, A star D. The next one D, you can see that it is replaced, G, D is the mapping. Now, C and F, you can see that they are not part of the mapping and that is why they will have to be copied as it is. So, once they are copied as it is, you have complete child A. Now, the Tour's child A begins from E, C, B, G, A, F and D. Okay. So, this is the partially mapped crossover method. Okay. And C and F, as I said, they are directly copied because they are not part of the map. If you pick up some other strings, you probably have different mapping and you will have to do it. In fact, in some cases the mapping is you will have to cycle that mapping. In fact, if you map the first element is already occurred, then you have to again map. So, it is sometimes in some cases pretty complex, but we have taken a very simple case here to just to make you understand how partially mapped crossover works. I have already told you in the beginning that GA is quite complex. So, everything that we are talking about right now is basically the simplest thing that we can talk about, but in truth and maybe pretty complex. Okay. The other one is called order crossover. The order crossover is very similar to the earlier one, but the other thing that we are going to keep the order intact. Okay. How it is done? Again, let us see the same thing. The parent one is A, C, B, D, E, F, G. Out of that, we will copy the middle 3 elements B, D and E in the child. Now, you can see that the parent ones B, G and A, there are B, G and A, they are not to be copied into the child. We know that the same parent, same city cannot be revisited. So, we are ignoring them, we are cutting them off, okay, and that makes the other elements available to us. So, once they are available to us, we are just copying them according to the order in which they appear in parent 1. So, C is the first, so we copy C here, okay. D is next, so we are copying next D here, okay. E is next, it is copied. F is also copied, okay, done. So, this is how you get the child 1. You may get the child 2 in a similar fashion, and this is how the order crossover works. The third one is called cyclic crossover. Cyclic crossover is also quite simple, but here we are taking some other string, we are not taking the earlier string. There is a reason. If you use the same string, surprisingly both children comes out to be the same. You may test it, okay, you may try, but that is the reason why I have chosen a different set of string. So, it is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, this is little longer and little different. Cyclic crossover is little different, so I have chosen a little longer to make sure that you understand. Okay, so it begins with A, it begins with the first element. Okay, I do not have any copy right now, I do not have anything to begin with. I start with the first element and put it there. Okay, so in the child, and now what I do, I just find out a mapping, okay, element in parent 2 and find out the position of that element in parent 1. So, D is at the position of 4. See, I started with A, the element correspond to A in parent 2 is D, the same D appears at position number 4 in this case. So, D at position 4 is copied, okay, here. Okay. So, you first you begin with A, now you D, thus now D. So, the corresponding element of D in parent 2 is H, and H appears at position the last but 1 in parent 1. So, it is copied there in the child 1. You can see now H appears in child 1. The corresponding element, okay, so you can see corresponding element of H is C, and C appears at position number 3. So, that is added, okay, you can see at position that appears in child 1 now. Okay. Now, C corresponding element is B. So, B is copied, you can see that B is copied again. So, in child 1 at this point of time is A, B, C, D, next 3 unknown, H and unknown. So, we are yet to fill the 4 positions. Now, an important thing happens. So, B is copied, the corresponding element of B here is A. Now, A is already covered, okay, A is already there. So, we have a cycle. A, we have started with A, now we reach to A. When the cycle appears, okay, we will stop this process and copy the rest of the elements as it is. So, A, okay, the cycle. Now, what I do? I just copy rest as it is, and what I get is this 4, okay. So, this is what I get A, B, C, D, G, F, I, H, E. So, this is what I get. You can see that some part from parent 1, some part from parent 2. Until you reach to the cycle, you copy from parent 1. Once you reach, you copy from parent 2. Because we are taking every element from parent 1 corresponding to parent 2, the remaining elements of parent 2 is obviously not appearing in child 1. So, we can copy it safely. Okay. So, there are some other representations possible as well. One is called path representation, which we already have done. Whatever we have done so far is called path representation. There is something else called ordinal representation. One more is called adjacency representation. The ordinal representation actually allows single point crossover, which was not possible in path representation. Because of that, the ordinal representation makes it faster. We are not going to discuss that further. Adjacency representation actually helps applying heuristic function little better, but again we are not going to talk about that is called heuristic crossover, which again, as I said, we are not going to discuss further. That ends our discussion about genetic algorithms and the introduction to travelling salesman problem. Let us recap what we have seen in this particular module. Genetic algorithms is a method of solving problems based on how life forms persist. They are not similar to other searching methods. They will not start from initial state and reach to final state. They actually begins with solutions search method. They pick up random solutions in the beginning, pick up better solutions from that solution set, then let the solutions combine, merge together and generate new solutions, pick up better from that and continue like that. How they are merged is based on a method called crossover. Travelling salesman problem, for example, when we talk about, if you want to get the tour which is optimal, we may start with a random tour A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H or something, where A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H are cities. We start with that, we find out the fitness function value, we generate okay, nodes. For example, if you use a sparse neighborhood, you just replace two adjacent or exchange two adjacent city information. What you get are 6, 7 children, and you apply that fitness function, the value, the distance value, and you may pick up 2 or 3 or 4 best, and then you again expand them and so on and so forth. So it is possible to use GA this way. When you use GA and on problems like this, it is not easy for you to combine them by using a single point crossover, like cutting the tour into half here and cutting the other tour into half and just combine them, because the cities may be repeated and some cities may be omitted. So that is not allowed. That is why we need a little different type of crossover methods. There are 3 crossover methods we have seen. One is called partially mapped, where a small part of one parent is copied into children, and based on that mapping the rest of the elements are filled up. In the other one, order crossover method, we copy some part of the parent into a child, and the rest is filled up from the other parent based on the order in which this thing appear in the parent itself. And the cycle crossover, what we do is we pick up an element from parent 1 and pick up a corresponding element in parent 2 and pick up that element and use that position to store that in the to copy that thing in the child and so on and so forth. And when cycle appears, the rest of the elements are picked up from the other parent and copied. These methods are either preserving order or position or both, in a way that they allow better qualities of the parent to persist over the generations. And using this method, actually many other problems are also solved. With that, we will conclude this genetic algorithm module number 8. Thank you.